Hi guys, today we're going to be taking a look at 3 different Polish uniforms. All 3 of these uniforms are winter uniforms, and each of them is a different pattern. So starting on the left we have the WZ68 Moro pattern. In the middle we have the WZ89 Zaba, or like frog skin pattern. There's a few different names for it. And finally on the right we have the WZ93 or Pantera pattern, and this is the current issue pattern to this day in the Polish armed forces. So let's take a closer look at each of the camouflages themselves. There's a number of different variants of this Moro pattern, used for the Army, the Air Force, police, and firemen as well. I believe this might be the firefighter variant based on the buttons. I had one of these uniforms that was a firefighter variant, and it had these similar buttons. But anyway, we're going to be basically in this video more looking and comparing how the winter uniforms changed over time and how they stayed the same. One of the things you'll notice that stayed the same is these pleated pockets on the left arm. In each variation of the uniform, it seems that they kept these pockets, which is pretty cool. All the way up until the current issue, these same style pockets remain. And just to be informative, I am going to be making a video on each of these. Each is going to get its own video. The first 2 patterns also, they have these slanted pockets with a button here. The reptile one, you can obviously see why they call it reptile due to the pattern. It also has these slanted pockets, while the current issue one, made in 2000, has like 4 pockets, which are all pleated. So it differs quite a bit in that respect. The first one doesn't really have an inner liner per se. It's just kind of a thicker material, whereas this one actually has a quilted inner liner, and so does the current issue one. And also, let's look at the dates of these uniforms. So this one, if we look at the tag, we can see it's made in 1982, so 12, likely December, the month, 1982. And then we have other information, other stamps as well. So this is kind of a later version. This one, if we look at the stamps, and they're always like in the bottom of the uniform on the inside, seems like it was made in 1990, so right before the fall kind of, and 3 is probably March. And this is just likely the size, 108 centimeters, 171 length. Not sure what 5770A means. And then there's this other tag, but like I said, I'm going to be taking a more in-depth look at this uniform in another video. And as for this uniform, the tag down here indicates it was made in the year 2000. Pretty cool. Most of these collars have like a little bit of material for like the hanger, which is pretty cool, so they kept that as well. First edition, we got epaulets here as well, but the button is hidden. And we have also epaulets, but the button is hidden. So these 2 are more similar with that in mind. Also, another feature I noticed is that on the back, most of them seem to have a tag which you would like write your name on or some other information. So like on all these editions, we have some white material where we could write our name if we so pleased. And then on the right arm, I don't see a pocket for any of these uniforms except for the modern one, which has another pleated pocket. So interesting how they kept, one pocket the same, but then they added way more on the current issue uniform. And yeah, it's got buttons. So they all use buttons to to close the uniform. We got buttons here. The ones on the Moro pattern uniform are much larger, however, as you can clearly see. However, the rest of them are just like regular black buttons. Another thing, they all have like an adjustment in the center for the waist. So they have this little elastic piece that you can use in order to adjust the waist. So you can see here like this little drawstring. And even the current issue one has this drawstring as well. If you wanted to compare all three patterns up close, which we're going to do, so let's take a look at them up close. So this one, the predecessor was I think WZ58, which was like a strict tarn pattern, so it was also a vertical lined pattern, but it was a different color. It was like much more brownish with like tannish with like brown lines. So here they kept the vertical pattern, however they definitely changed the color. This is like on a greenish, like on a grayish, and then you have like these green like blops or like blotches. They definitely went with a completely different design with the 89 pattern, completely changing the shape. They go to this, you know, scale-ish pattern, and the color, it's green, so it's 2 shades of green. I heard it wasn't very effective, and I can kind of see why. It's just the shapes are a little smaller scale, I'd say. You probably want them to be a little bit bigger. And then with this current issue one, they went to like more of a, not like woodland, but a pretty conventional shape and pattern color, where we have this black, reddish color, dark green, and light green. And apparently a variation of this pattern, not this like particular color, but the actual shapes did exist in the past. And then with this, you know, we have the current Polish flag, which is pretty cool. And another thing is we have 2 pockets here on the right arm, which I didn't notice before. None of these seem to have any buttons for closing the wrists. But we do have this little bit for buttoning in the liner, it seems like, or for rolling it up perhaps. It seems like you can't really remove the liner from here or from this one either. But we do have this. Actually, on this current issue one, we have the option to close it around our wrists if we really wanted to. But yeah, definitely some pretty cool pieces. The Moro and the frog skin are pretty uncommon and hard to come by. This one on the right is very easy to come by since it's the current issue pattern. You can pretty easily purchase like this insulated jacket for like probably like 20 or 30 bucks on a surplus website. The middle one, since it was only in use from 89 to 93, is a lot more hard to come by, a lot more uncommon. Definitely a bit more of a collector's piece. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a cool one when we take a look at it. I really like the stamping system. It has a lot of detail, so it's easy to figure out, you know, exactly when it was made and other information. This is also somewhat uncommon, not as plentiful, not like impossible or super rare, but just not nearly as common as the Pantera. But yeah, this was just like a pretty simple video. Just wanted to show you how the winter uniforms changed over time. And as you can see, they definitely changed a lot in terms of pattern, but the actual cut of the uniform didn't differ too much over the years, except for with the newer one that they added a lot more pockets and stuff like that. But overall, they're all pretty cool patterns, pretty cool pieces as well. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe and potentially comment as well. Definitely be posting a lot more videos. I hope you guys enjoy this type of content. And overall, thank you for watching. Have a great day.